These fertile furrows in the Keystone State are where those that thrive on speed come to plant some serious horsepower. And it is from this soil that these fast farmers sow low ET and national records. Coming up, the modified class will test the limits of their cut boggers. We are on the northwestern end of the Allegheny Plateau in some beautiful countryside, the Shenango River Valley, Transfer, Pennsylvania, to be exact, for the 2021 running of MRA's Championship Dirt Drags here at the 143rd Annual Transfer Harvest Home Fair. 150 feet of tilled loam, and that's shortened from 180 feet in years past, as this is one of the shortest shutdown areas that these cars run on this tour. And today we'll be bringing you the modified class. No forced inductions, naturally aspirated engines with an additional nitrous oxide spritz powered by laughing gas. And there you see Katie King's Pure Aggravation. We'll be running the cut tires today. You may have seen our coverage previously with the paddle tire class. These are DOT boggers. They started life as DOT boggers. They've been cut to have a paper-thin skin and a big, meaty tread. First up, as I said, you'll be the second-generation driver out of Summer Duck, Virginia. Pure Aggravation, Katie King. There you see her father, John, tending to the nitrous on that 625 cubic inch Chevrolet engine in the back of this rear engine rail. Talk about a guy who will talk your ear off about nitrous. John King, the man knows his nitrous. As Katie King gets ready to put the power to the track here and transfer, as I said, 150 feet. We will see what she has as she gets ready to set the pace. There you see a little purge of the nitrous. That's what the puff was out of the engine. And to give you some idea of the mindset of the racers in this sport, when we talked to John earlier about his engine combination, he said, I only have 625 cubic inch Chevy, only 625 cubic inches. And believe me, that's a lot of cubic inches, but there are some massive power plants yet to come. So Katie King rolls into the staging beams. We'll see what she has as she sets the stage. Not a bad run, but it looked like the rear end of the car made a move to the right off the starting line at 2.6145 to set the stage for everyone else in the class. Again, not a bad run, but we'll get another look at it from the end zone camera, and we'll show you. Looked like she may have spun a little bit on the starting line. Watch the car, the front end coming around to the left, the rear end going to the right. It may have hurt her time just a little bit, but she will run first in this session, last in the second session, so she'll be able to watch everybody else run twice. So she and her father could swap some notes back and forth, and we'll be able to figure out what they can do to get more horsepower to the track. Right now, though, Robert Gallagher in the Black Mamba, 659 cubic inches of Pat Musey horsepower, tuned by Ryan McCain. This machine running just around 2,800 to 3,000 horsepower, probably about 2,800 here. Now, he's been having some control issues as they're trying to work out the power to weight ratio in this car. May need to do a little more work in the rear suspension to get it exactly where he wants it. But he's also running this car hurt here this weekend, as he did some damage last week to the front steering, got in just under the wire to make it to race here. He's running in two different classes, so he's definitely putting a lot of wear and tear on the car here this weekend. We will see, though, what he has as he tries to better Katie King's run here in pass number 2 in the modified class. Carrying the front end and way off to the left again. You can see he has the same problem that we were talking about at a 2.307. Robert Gallagher rolling to a stop, and it would appear that he has done more damage to that car. When he set the front end down, parts came out from underneath, and he was inches from going out of bounds at the finish line. As he climbs down, unfortunately, it looks like he has indeed done some damage to the front end of that car, as his tow vehicle makes its way down there. It's not going to be taking him off the track. It looks like they're going to be bringing the loader around to pull him off as he lost the steering shaft. You can see the fire crew picking up pieces out of the loam here. You don't want to run those cut tires across any metal. You'll shred them in a hurry. So Gallagher looks like he's going to have to go back and try to get that fixed in a hurry while we continue on with session number 1 in our modified cut class from here in Transfer. We're just getting underway. Don't go anywhere. More to come from right here at the Transfer Harvest Home Fair.
This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Monsters Monthly. For up-to-date show, ticket info, and a wide selection of photo and video galleries, visit monstersmonthly.com. And by RPM Army, featuring action-packed content from around the web. Visit rpmarmy.com, your source for motorsports on the go. This Back Channel Productions program is brought to you in part by Crush This. For an inside look at the world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
We are back at the 143rd Annual Transfer Harvest Home Fair with the 2021 MRA Dirt Drag Championship. We continue on with the modified cut class. There you see Jason Massey in the Massey Mud Racing entry out of Fraser Bottom, West Virginia. He's getting ready to go side by side with another second-generation driver. That's Tyler Coolidge out of Two Harbors, Minnesota, in the machine called Trouble. And speaking of Trouble, his father, who drove this car yesterday, suffered an intake fire on the starting line in session number 1 in the paddle tire class. Tyler driving this machine in the cut tire class. He will also drive their open class car in the open paddle class, which will take place on our next edition of coverage from here in Transfer. There you see Massey driving that machine out of Fraser Bottom, West Virginia, with a 732 cubic inch Chevy big block mechanical alcohol injection in that machine. Tyler Coolidge with a 612 cubic inch Oldsmobile engine. KB in the back of that one. 3 kits of nitrous and a power glide transmission. We will see who can better Robert Gallagher's time. Speaking of which, Gallagher, we're hearing, will not be back. We'll give you an update in a moment on that car. Right now, Massey and Coolidge getting ready for the third passes of the session. Little problem there. Massey laying down a run, and it's going to be a good one. Looks like he'll take the top spot. I'm not sure what happened to Coolidge. We have not been given the official times just yet. It does look like they're going to allow Coolidge to restage and take a shot at it. I'm not sure if the car just rolled out at the starting line or if there was a problem with the staging lights or what. But right now, Massey is sitting in the number 1 spot at a 2:09.4 and change. Coolidge coming off to the right-hand side hard at a 2:12. So Massey will go into the number 1 spot for the moment. Problems continue for the Trouble machine. Living up to its name here this weekend. It's been a rough weekend for them in the modified class. They've had a good run in the open class now as the Keystone Killer rolls out toward the staging beams. Travis Shoemaker in the High Roller 4. 815 cubic inch Ford Hemi with 3 kits of nitrous. We've seen this guy take some national event victories. Won a big one for the NMRO championship out in Indianapolis in 2019. Now running for the MRA championship over here at Transfer. He's going up against Jason Chaya and Little Crazy out of Weyauwega, Wisconsin. Chaya won the Outlaw Pro Stock class earlier this week, and he's running a 788 cubic inch Ford Hemi, no nitrous, carbon fiber body, super lightweight machine, but he may be a little bit outpowered here with the 815 cubic inch Ford in the lane next to him. Shoemaker definitely capable of getting down this track in a hurry. We'll see what he can do here against the lightweight Bronco of Jason Chaya, another multi-class player in the field. Rear engine versus front engine, the more pro stock design machine up against the modified rail. There you see Shoemaker purging the nitrous as he rolls into the staging beams. Blistering pass for both of those cars. Shoemaker looked like he was on rails. Look at that. 2.0695 for Travis Shoemaker. The high roller will move into the #1 spot. We'll take another look at it from the end zone. Moving to the right there as he comes through the traps, but it looks like a pretty straight pass for both of those cars. There's a bit of a camber here in the right lane, and you definitely want to stay away from the right side of the track. Up next out of Halifax, Virginia, speaking of staying away from the edges of the track, Richard Dunnavant in an all-AMC-powered CJ7. Dunnavant, he got into the wall on the left side in the lane he's in right now. He'd love to stay out of there. He's another guy who's trying to work out maybe a few power or weight issues with the 454 cubic inch AMC Barry Allen race engine in the front end of this Jeep. We'll see what he has as he moves into the staging beams for a single pass. Once again carrying the front end, and he came off way to the left-hand side of the track at a 2.20. Little bit of a wild ride. He's taken a few of them here this weekend. Dunnavant.
Your next single pass on the line, Diesel Kato.
That's probably the straightest ride he's taken all weekend long. Watch him again. He picks up the front end, and the vehicle starts to come around to the left-hand side as the left rear riding a little bit high right there, and that's causing him some problems. And then watch him come over this ridge here where the dirt becomes the lawn. He got airborne just a little bit there in the shutdown area. Have to keep an eye on that as you look at it from the end zone. Again, way over to the left-hand side of the track, on the verge of getting into that wall on those tires again. Up next, a first-time driver, 17-year-old Diesel Cato, the third member of the Cato family we've seen so far this weekend, out of Advance, Missouri, driving his father's Jeep that we saw run in the Outlaw Pro Stock class. That's Don Cato, owner of that machine, and we'll see Dylan Cato a little bit later in the Pro Stock division as well as Don. But Diesel taking his first shot down the track in this machine, and it's a solid piece of equipment with a Tony Bischoff Ford Hemi in the front of that beautiful bright red Jeep out of the state of Missouri, the Show Me State CJ. Let's see what he's got. Solid run for a first pass. He's in the sub-3 second range right there. Take nothing away from him. Was unlikely to get into the #1 spot, but a 2.97 is not bad for your first run down the track. Diesel Cato looking good, and the Show Me State showstopper unleashed. His father will bring that machine back again in the Pro Stock division. We'll see coming up here in just a little bit. Up next, John Tomlin in the second-rate race team entry. He shares with Jason Massey. He's going to go side-by-side with another second-generation machine, Shane Olrogi, in Deranged, a member of the Racing in the Dirt family of cars. That's the machine that that shop actually fields. There you see his father, Scott, tending to the engine, getting that car ready as they purge the nitrous there on the left-hand side of your screen. His father, one of the great chassis builders in this game, also one of the great tire cutters in this game. We'll see what he has right now for John Tomlin, who's looking to lay down a shot here in session #1. Either one of these cars could easily come away with a victory. Olrogi with a 760 cubic inch Goodwin competition engine. See what he can do against Tomlin with an 828 cubic inch Chevy. Tomlin pushing it, ends up way over on the right-hand side of the track. In fact, he finishes in O'Rourke shutdown area. Look at that! He betters the 150-foot national record. At a 2:02.4, he goes better than the standing 2:04.5. Now he'll have to try to back it up, and look at this. Both those cars on the verge of running out of bounds, and O'Rourke dodged a bullet there as well. You do not want to get into the right-hand side coming through the shutdown area. You don't want to get too far over to the right. Again, you don't want to get too far over to the left. There's wall and tires over there, but the outbound shutdown area is a lot more forgiving. When you come over to this right-hand side, you're dealing with a lot of knolls and ditches and stuff like that. You can see the cone they put there to try to keep those guys out of that area, and O'Rourke was literally up against it, as Tomlin right now has a shot at taking the national record if he can back it up. Right now, coming to the line, though, is the hometown hero, Keith Mitchell, out of Fredonia, Pennsylvania. We'll see. He's capable of bettering that record, as John Tomlin, you can see there, at a 2:02. And it may just be a blink of an eye, but he is a mile away from Travis Shoemaker right now, who sits there with a 2:06.05. Then it's Jason Massey, Tyler Coolidge, Shane O'Rourke, and Jason Chaya rounding out the field as this Magician rear-engine rail with a 960 cubic inch Sonny's power plant behind the driver comes to the line. Beautiful pass for the Magician, but I don't believe it's going to be fast enough. As straight as it was, a 2:08.13, so he will jump up into the number 3 spot for the moment. And we'll see if he can better John Tomlin when we come back for session number 2. Another look at it, though. Pretty straight run. He came a little bit to the right, but no real problems. A straight shot through the shutdown area, and he got the car woed. Just feeling it out, because he's more worried about taking a victory here than he is about breaking the national record, but now he has to worry about both. Pro Stocks are coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out of.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're going to go down memory lane.
We are back at the Transfer Harvest Home Fair in Transfer, Pennsylvania, as the Modified Class Session 1 comes to a close. Those vehicles will go back and get tuned for Session number 2. In the meantime, we are getting ready for Session 2 of our Pro Stock division. We're going to take you back and show you Session 1 to show you how we got where we are now. The first pairing up was Christy Nagley up against Dylan Cato. We told you there were several members of the Cato family out here this weekend. Cato in the black Colorado betters Christy Nagley, a 2:35.87 for Dylan Cato in the Colorado to take the number 1 spot early. Up next would be Don Cato, another member of the Cato family, as we said, driving the Unleashed Jeep that we saw a little bit earlier. He would get the early hole shot on John Cervella, but Cervella and Mr. Hobbs would better the time laid down by Cato in spite of a late start. Up next would end up being a single after all was said and done for Scott Sisler in Showtime. Greg Booker locked up on the starting line. Sisler runs a 2:37.31 to move into the number 2 spot as we got toward our final pairing, which would feature one of the winningest drivers on the series, Brendan Whitgen in the red Jeep called Foreplay out of Michigan, taking on Sean Lobby in the Maniac, and Whitgen would move into the number 1 spot at a 2:29. Wiggin, a solid runner in this game and a guy that's well capable of bettering a national record. There you see a 2:29. He's sitting in the number 1 spot over Dylan Cato, Sean Lobby, Scott Sisler, Chrissy Nagley, and John Cervella. Cervella, who's running all DOT uncut tires on his machine here this weekend. And he could definitely be a sleeper in the field. In fact, he is not running for points on this series, as he just kind of shows up and runs when he wants to. He could definitely play a spoiler to everybody running for the national points on the MRA series this year. Right now, we come right back with the 2 machines you just saw, Foreplay and the Maniac. They've swapped lanes, and they're going to run again here in session number 2. We will see if Whitgen can better the time that he laid down in session number 1, that being a 2:29.14. Big problems immediately for Lobby, and Whitgen takes it quickly out the other end at a 2:27. So Whitgen will likely cement himself into the number 1 spot with that pass, but there's still some hard chargers that could knock him out of that top spot. Again, problems for the Maniac. You see the helmet come off. A disappointed Sean Lobby, who came a long way to race here this weekend. Not going to be the weekend for him. We'll watch it again and watch the right front tire of Lobby's vehicle coming out of the hole. You can see it immediately start buffeting. Something going away in the black Jeep, and Whitgen blisters the track to pick up a little bit of extra time. And you see the rear end start to come off the ground when he got out of the throttle. The weight transfer is tremendous with the speeds that they're getting here as our next machine comes up for the second pass of session 2. Scott Sisler out of New Matamoros, Ohio in Showtime. Beautiful little S10 out of the Buckeye State, the Buckeye bow tie. Ready to head down the track. Remember, he ran Greg Booker in the first session, and Booker will not be back as he has been having a terrible weekend in the American Outlaw. Hope to see him on down the road. Right now, though, Scott Sisler going to try to go better than a 2:27. A 2:36, not going to do it. The rear end coming off the ground when he backed on the horsepower. Putting that big VZ engine to work here with Showtime, and we'll get another look at the run. Pushing that thing hard. Watch him get the power to the ground. It was a good run. The vehicle looked to make a slight move to the left, and it may have hurt his time just a little bit when he was carrying the front end, but watch right here. Look at him pick the whole rear end up off the ground. It gets treacherous trying to shut these quick and fast machines down through here, and again taking a ride off the end of the track onto the lawn. Now here comes John Cervella out of New Lyme, Ohio, and Mr. Hobbs. Again, I said he's running all DOTs. You can see no cut tires on this thing, full cleat, but he's a sleeper. He can upset a lot of these guys and play spoiler, as he is not eligible for the point series, but he can be a player in any field that he enters. Beautiful pass for Mr. Hobbs at 2:78, not bad at all. He should be able to hold himself in the leaderboard right now, as I believe he will indeed, as our final competitor gets ready to roll out. It'll be Dylan Cato in that black Colorado we saw a little bit earlier, as Don Cato will not be back, as Chrissy Nagley also failed to make the starting line, but did put themselves respectively on the leaderboard. We'll see, though, if Dylan Cato can hold himself in the number 2 spot right now. Cato earlier ran a 2:35. He'd like to speed that up just a little bit. Of course, he would love to get into the number 1 spot, well above Brendan Whitgen. So we'll see what this big John Conkle race motor can put into the track. Beautiful pass, a 2:33. He does better his own time, so he will cement himself into second place to wrap things up, but it will be Brendan Whitgen going out of here with the number 1 spot. You can see not much change from the last time we checked the leaderboard. Then it's Dylan Cato, Sean Lobby, who ends up in third in spite of mechanical problems, Scott Sisler, Chrissy Nagley, and John Cervella rounding out the top 6 on the leaderboard. We are not done yet, though. We're going to jump back to the modifieds when we come back.
Listen up. It doesn't matter if you just watch your first show or you're a longtime fan of the sport and you want to know more about monster trucks, well, tune into the Throttle Out Show on Monday and Thursday nights, live on our YouTube channel at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. You'll get the inside scoop and all the behind-the-scenes footage and monster trucks and soon-to-be all other motorsports. Life is better when your foot is to the floor. So remember, when in doubt, throttle out.
It is twilight time here in Transfer, Pennsylvania as we continue action. Returning to the modified cut tire class here for session number 2. About to get underway here at the 143rd Annual Transfer Harvest Home Fair, the 2021 running of the MRA Championship Dirt Drags. We've already seen records broken. We'll see if we'll get them reset now as Keith Mitchell out of Fredonia, Pennsylvania rolls out in the Magician. Again, 960 cubic inch Sonny's power plant in the back of that one. There you see he's currently sitting in 3rd. John Tomlin on top, having broken the 150-foot national record, followed by Travis Shoemaker, Keith Mitchell, Jason Massey, Tyler Coolidge, and Shane O'Rogie in the deranged, racing in the dirt rear engine dragster. Now, Keith Mitchell rolling to the line. He has to better a national record to get to the number 1 spot. Car made a move to the left on him there. That's going to hurt his time. Not a bad run, though. Look at that, a 2:03.7. He'll move into 2nd place. Not going to get the number 1 spot, but nothing to be disappointed about here. He will take some points out of Pennsylvania that he can put toward his year-end goal. They wrap their championship up later this year in Eureka, Missouri. You can see it right there, the car twitching a little bit. About half track, it kicked him off to the left-hand side, and he had to regain control, and that definitely hurt his run. A good run, but this is the tougher of the 2 lanes, I believe, with that little bit of a camber, and you can see him counter-steer just a little bit. Solid driving to keep the car as straight as he did at that speed, but 2:03 only good enough for 2nd place. Up next, the guy who's trying to back up a national record right now. Earlier in competition, he ran a 2:02.49. He has to get within 500ths of that to back up the record. He goes side by side now with Shane O'Rogie in deranged, who is sitting on the bump spot on the leaderboard right now. We will see if O'Rogie, who is also well capable of getting past that national record, can do it. O'Rogie in earlier round action laid down a 2:13 and change for session number 1. We'll see what they have as they roll into the staging beams. Beautiful pass for Tomlin, and he does it. He doesn't better his time, but he does back up the national record of 2:02.9. Not better than his 2:02.4 that he ran in earlier round action, but he does back up the national record. Now, if anyone beats him in the session, they will overtake him for that national record. Obviously, they will overtake him for the first place honors here this evening, but it's going to be very tough. You're going to have to get past 2 blistering passes to do it. You can see Shane O'Rogie hung right in there with him, take nothing away from Shane, who just ran another 2:1, but got to be a good feeling there for John Tomlin. Up next, the CJ7, the all-AMC powered CJ7 out of Halifax, Virginia, Richard Donovan. Picks up the front end, comes way over to the right-hand side, and we see things bouncing down the track and through the shutdown area. There is no time coming up for Richard Donovan. I believe he may have wiped out the top-end timing lights when he came through the finish line. Wait and see. He indeed ran out of bounds is the word we're getting. Watch him again. Picks up the front end. The vehicle comes hard to the left. Sets the front wheels down back on the power, and he runs over a timing device down there in the finish line area of the track. And I believe that's a mirror that went bouncing through the shutdown area. It's part of the timing system here. You can see pieces of it go flying off to the left-hand side of your screen. It was just, there was no coming back. The same problem he's had all weekend long, and you see the track crew picking up pieces of Richard Dunham's broken luck. That's a piece of the timing system he's got there in his left hand, so he's going to walk that back. It looks like we're going to have to do a little track grooming, maybe put the timing lights back on the stakes. We will reset the clocks, we'll till the soil, get things ready for the rest of the modified class, and we will be back. More from Transfer Pennsylvania. Stay with us.
We've got 2 trucks to run over again. The mud pit side, the next one coming line should be 563.
Welcome back to the 143rd Annual Transfer Harvest Home Fair here in Transfer, Pennsylvania, as we continue with session number 2 in the modified class. Coming to the line right now, you see green lights. That is Jason Jaya out of Weyowega, Wisconsin, in the carbon fiber bodied Ford Bronco out of Cold Country. And there you see the Keystone Killer Travis Shoemaker, who is currently sitting, I believe, in 3rd place following his run in session number 1 and Keith Mitchell's run in session number 2. That is High Roller 4, the 815 cubic inch Ford Hemi. Going side by side with the Bronco that won the Outlaw Pro Stock class yesterday afternoon, Jason Jaya. So we will see if either of these guys can get to the top of the board. Remember, you got to better a national record to get there. Nice straight run for Shoemaker in a red light in the right-hand lane for Jaya. 2:02.81. Shoemaker got down in that national record territory. Not quite enough to take the number 1 spot or the record, but he did run better than the previous record that was set down that John Tomlin broke, as Tyler Coolidge now rolls out of Two Harbors, Minnesota, in trouble. Let's see if he can have a little bit better session number 2. Session 1 has not gone well for those guys in the modified class here this week. And remember, yesterday with the intake fire, today with that strange rollout on the starting line, as Jason Massey in the Massey Mud Racing entry at Fraser Bottom, West Virginia, gets ready to take the green. We look at the lapse times one more time. John Tomlin sitting on top with the right now standing national record. It's not been made official. It will not be made official until the end of competition tonight, once the car is weighed and re-teched. Make sure everything is legal. Travis Shoemaker got back into the number 2 spot with the run you just saw. Then it's Keith Mitchell, Jason Massey, Shane O'Rogie, and Tyler Coolidge rounding out the field now. Coolidge would love to jump up on the board some. Jason Massey would love to do the same. We will see if either one of these guys can knock John Tomlin off the top. Not gonna do it. Massey picking up the front end. That hurt him big time. Coolidge at a 2:13. Still can't get out of that range. Not doing bad here this week, and those are both pretty straight rides. But we'll watch again from the end zone. You will see Massey picking that front end up, and look at them both stepping out to the right in the shutdown area. There is some dew settling into the dirt. It's making things very slick in that grass, so they're trying to get them shut down well before they get into that ice skating rink that is what our shutdown area has become. But a good ride for both of those cars as our final competitor rolls out here for the evening. Katie King, you saw her start session number 1. She has had all night to watch everybody else run, as has her father, John, who goes right to his spot on the engine. You see him purge the nitrous. Our final competitor here tonight, can she go better than a national record?
On the pit, so our final mud dog is going to be Michael Humphrey in the all-prison truck.
Not going to happen. Not a bad run, but the car made another move to the right, a 2.45 and change. Not going to work out for Katie King, but didn't have a bad evening here. Going to put the car on the trailer in one piece. They don't appear to have any motor problems, and that's going to wrap up the session and the class from here in Transfer, Pennsylvania. John Tomlin rolling out of here with big points, not only with this #1 spot, but that is the new national record atop the leaderboard, a 2:02.49. And it's followed by Travis Shoemaker, who actually bettered, remember, the existing national record to get to the #2 spot. Keith Mitchell, who was closing in on those guys. Jason Massey at a 2:09.4. And then in the 2:1 range, we see Shane Olrogi and Tyler Coolidge. What a night of action. We still have one more to go from here in Transfer, the Open class, and highlights from our Renegade class. When we see you next time, don't miss it. Thanks for joining us. We will see you then.